Local all morning. This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
It is a disaster in the making.
Connecticut's senior U.S. Senator spoke up about the potential dismantling of the Department of Education, what he says the move will mean if the Trump administration is successful. 6 o'clock Monday morning. Thanks for starting off your new week here with us at Fox 61 and Fox 61 Plus, America Areas.
And I'm Tim Lammers. Let's get right over to meteorologist Rachel Piscatelli to join us with more on a wet Monday. And
absolutely.
Maybe a couple snowflakes.
A couple of snowflakes, but I think that chance is less and less likely as the morning goes on for the most part. We do have this winter weather advisory for our highest elevations in northwestern Connecticut through about 10 o'clock or so. A couple of snowflakes possible, but for the most part, I think this is really just going to be an all-rain event. And the morning commute is going to feature the lighter precipitation. It's by the late morning and early afternoon that we're going to bring in the heaviest rain, picking up a half an inch to about an inch of rain when all is said and done. You can see here on our satellite and radar picture, we have light precipitation. It's all rain along the immediate shoreline. The better opportunity for maybe a snowflake or two will be in our higher elevations towards Canton and Heartland. But even that right now, it does look like that is coming down as maybe a snowflake, but melting on contact. So not a big deal. Light precipitation this morning with a few flakes falling. We'll watch out for those slippery, sneaky spots. Heavier rain by the afternoon. And then towards the evening, we are drying out between about 4 and 6 o'clock. So kids will likely have recess indoors today. 34 degrees in Torrington, 36 degrees in Waterbury, 42 in New Haven, 34 degrees in Willimantic now. Town by town throughout the afternoon, we'll see temperatures in the upper 40s to right around 50 degrees for areas inland, middle 40s for areas inland. So 45 degrees will be our high temperature. Grab that umbrella out the door this morning. 54 degrees on Tuesday will dry out with a mix of sun and clouds. There's also another opportunity for a little bit of flake activity for Wednesday morning before we switch over to all rain. We'll have more details on that coming up in just around 15 minutes. As we check in with the roads this morning here, there's just one area of road work that's being reported right now over in northwest, or rather along 91 this morning. So we have this is going to be out by Wallingford and into Meriden between exits 15 and 18. Minor slowdowns in the area as 2 lanes are blocked, but I would imagine they are clearing that as we speak. So Rock Hill to Hartford is around 7 minutes. Cromwell to New Haven 23. We'll take a live look outside over in New Haven. Both directions have light volume and the roads are slightly wet at this hour. Over to you.
Last week, President Trump signed an executive order aimed at further dismantling the Department of Education. And now lawmakers and education leaders here all across our state are prepared to push back.
Now, the president said he just wants to put the power of that department back in the hands of the individual states. But as Fox 61's Stephen Reels reports, at least one local lawmaker said he does not think that's the real plan.
While President Donald Trump does not have the ability to get rid of the Department of Education himself, the executive order he did sign essentially puts all the dominoes in place to do so. And while Republicans say this will help bring education back to the states themselves, Democrats across the aisle worry that this will just put education at risk.
It is a disaster in the making.
Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal is among those pushing back against the Trump administration. This after the president's executive order aimed at dismantling the Department of Education.
We're not doing well with the world of education in this country.
The order directed Education Secretary and Connecticut native Linda McMahon to take every necessary step to facilitate the closure of the department and return authority to the states. But Senator Blumenthal says the only thing this will do is drive up costs on Americans,
which will cause increases in local taxes, property taxes, to replace the federal funding. And the savings at the federal level will go to finance their tax cuts for the billionaires. That's the agenda here.
Leaders like Kate Diaz with the Connecticut Education Association say they now turn to state leaders to keep the DOE open.
Individuals like Attorney General Tong to fight for us, to go into the spaces and make some noise, because quite frankly, we cannot allow ourselves to devalue public education in this way.
In response to the executive order, Secretary McMahon explained how leaders have been discussing folding the Department of Education into other areas of government.
I mean, the Department of Justice already has a civil rights office, and I think that there is an opportunity to discuss with Attorney General Bondi about locating some of our civil rights work there. He wants to improve education for children. He wants to get those dollars, even more dollars, back to the states without the bureaucracy of Washington. So that's our plan. That's our goal.
What is your response to that?
The idea they're returning education to the states is a total falsehood because the states already control it through boards and local organizations. What they're really trying to do, essentially, is dismantle the Department of Education, but more fundamentally, destroy the funding programs.
Well, that was Fox 61 Stephen Reels reporting. Senator Richard Blumenthal says more actions from the state will be announced later this morning at 10 a.m. So we'll get you an update for that when we can. Well, unfortunately, there will be no third straight national championship for the UConn men's basketball team. Their road to the championship has officially ended.
Yeah, the Huskies were beaten in the second round yesterday afternoon by the top seed in their region, the Florida Gators. The Huskies were strong throughout the game. Look, they led by 6 points with about 9.5 minutes to go as the 8th seed, but just lost momentum in the final minutes. Florida took a lead. Then UConn sort of came roaring back in the last minute or so, but wound up losing by 2. 77-75 was the final. This is UConn's first NCAA tournament loss in 13 games. It is the second longest streak all time behind UCLA. Well, tonight in stores, the UConn women will take on South Dakota State in the second round of their NCAA tournament. Even though the UConn is the 2 seed in the region, don't count out South Dakota State. The 10 seed upset the 7th seeded Oklahoma in the first round. As for UConn, their first round game went pretty much according to plan, like it always does. They beat Arkansas State 103-34. It is the 31st straight first round victory for the Huskies. We spoke to them about their defense after the game.
Yeah, I was looking at the scoreboard and the stat was, I think, 13 blocks, 12 steals. So to have more blocks and steals is kind of crazy. But we're just flying around. We knew how great they were offensively in terms of wanting to get threes up. So we're just trying to contest everything, make everything difficult. I thought Sarah, Jana, they protected the paint. Sarah also blocked a lot of shots outside. So I think it was a good defensive effort, but something we need to build on.
Well, defense often leads to offense, and the Huskies will have another chance to build on that teamwork tonight. Tip-off is set for 8 p.m. again at Gamble Pavilion in stores. Also streaming right now on Fox 61 Plus, a special look at the Huskies' road to the championship. Our sports director, Jonah Karp, will take an in-depth look at the UConn women's path to get to where they are right now. Download Fox 61 Plus on your TV to watch for free.
All new this morning, firefighters in Ansonia responded after 2 vehicles caught on fire Saturday night. Crews say it happened in the parking lot of the Target on West Main Street. The Eagle Hose and Hook and Ladder Company number 6 posted these pictures on their Facebook. We have reached out to find out if anyone was hurt and if investigators know what may have caused the fire. And firefighters responded to this fire on Burton Street in Waterbury. You can see crews on the scene. We don't know if anyone was hurt or what may have caused the fire to spark.
Well, firefighters in Rocky Hill responded to a house fire early Sunday morning. It was on Parsonage Street. Crews said they found smoke coming from the back of the home when they got there, and when they went inside, they found an electric stove on fire, which then caused some wood cabinets to catch fire. Crews said they also got a high carbon monoxide reading up on the 2nd floor. Ultimately, firefighters said nobody was hurt. In Newtown, firefighters said 2 sheds caught fire Saturday after an explosion was reported. Crews said it happened in the Botsford section of town. Firefighters were able to knock the fires down before the flames could spread, and nobody was hurt in that case either.
All right, developing right now at 6:09, a second dog was found dead inside of a garbage bag in East Hartford. We do want to warn you before we say any more that the details might be tough to hear. The town's animal control office says a dog was found early yesterday morning in a wooded area near Forbes and Cottage Streets. The dog is believed to be a young pit bull. Animal control says the dog was found with a gunshot wound on its side. Now, another dog in a garbage bag was found last Tuesday. If you saw anything, if you know anything, you're asked to please call East Hartford Police or Animal Control. And one person was taken to the hospital after a crash on I-84 in Vernon. Crews say they were called to the westbound side of the highway near exit 66 just after 3 a.m. on Sunday. They found a car with serious damage and another car on its side in an embankment. Everyone inside both vehicles were able to get out on their own. We don't know what led up to the crash. 6:10 now, and Israeli military forces press on with new airstrikes and ground operations across the Gaza Strip. Israel cited stalled attempts to negotiate with Hamas to release hostages and threatened to escalate the attacks. The new blasts are causing the death toll in Gaza to keep rising, which could jeopardize the hostages' fate. Sue Guzman reports on the latest developments.
Explosions from Israeli airstrikes keep lighting up the sky across the Gaza Strip. IDF says it slammed Nasser Hospital Sunday night, southern Gaza's largest medical facility. Officials were targeting a Hamas member operating there, who the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry later confirmed was killed. At least one other person died and several others were also wounded.
What we know is that the surgery building was bombed, and as you can see, there are injuries among the crew.
The strike comes as doctors in Gaza have been overwhelmed with an uptick in patients since Israel began relaunching attacks last week. On Sunday, officials said more than 50,000 Palestinians have been killed since the start of the war. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordering the attacks to resume after saying talks to secure the release of the remaining hostages showed no signs of progress. It's estimated Hamas is holding 59 hostages. 24 of them are believed to still be alive. But Netanyahu's call to launch new strikes is triggering growing unrest in Israel. Over the weekend, thousands gathered in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem to protest the government's handling of the hostage talks.
I watch my country just continuing a non-ending war.
Many calling for peace, saying fighting won't bring the hostages home.
What I would want is a government who would choose to go towards a peace agreement.
While Israel has threatened to bolster the attacks, Hamas is calling for a permanent ceasefire and a full Israeli withdrawal from Gaza for the release of the remaining hostages. Sue Guzman, Fox 61.